Good evening. It's 2 a.m. with Jason. I hope you're doing well. Normally, I use this opportunity to talk about the sermon, and I will do that the other several nights this week. But today, I want to talk about Labor Day. Parks told me uh, the last couple times this last week. He said, "Yeah, Mommy's Day's coming up. Mommy's Day's coming up, and we need to celebrate." And I'm sitting here like, her birthday was last month, and I don't know what you're talking about here, but until it hit me that today's Labor Day, and something told him that this is Mommy's Day, and I know that that he had a long labor, and we are very grateful that God enabled Vicky to pull through that one. Um, and so I guess for all you mothers, happy Labor Day as well. But really, this holiday is an interesting history to it, and I just wanted to throw some information there, some insight. I don't know if you had it or not, but um, I started back in 1882. It was September 5th, and I believe it was a Monday, and about 10,000 workers uh, took a little march. They took unpaid leave, took a march from City Hall to Union Square. It's the first in New York City. It was the first Labor Day parade, I guess you could say, and people across the country. This is 1882. The cities started saying, "Man, we need to find a way to support our workers, the people that have been laboring, and how can we celebrate that?" Because most of the people during that time were working, you know, 12, 16-hour days, and 6, 7 days a week. And so, what can we do here at the end of the summer to really celebrate that? And so this was the day. Um, it wasn't for 12 years later, though, until 1894, when things actually came to a head and it actually became a national holiday. The Pullman Palace Car Company, um, the workers went on strike, and they went on strike because the company decided to cut their wages by 25%. And most people still lived in the company houses and stuff like that. And so they cut their wages 25%. They weren't making a whole lot to begin with, but they cut the wages and they didn't change the rent any. Didn't change the cost of any of the food or any of the supplies or any of the stuff. And so the workers are like, this is not, no, we're working 16-hour days, and this we can't do this. And so they got together, some of the leaders did, and they said, we've got to go talk to the president of the company. The president of the company refused to meet with them, and which was, obviously exacerbated the problem. And so as things started getting worse, Eugene Debs stepped in, and he said, I really have a heart for people that have been wronged, and for this. And so he started organizing this this protest against the Pullman Car Company, and it started with within a week or so, about 100,000 people that were working on railroads and stuff just said, we're not going to touch, if it has a Pullman car in it, we're not touching it. And this is from Chicago. And so Chicago was a major railway company and or city. And so it was huge. In fact, it grew to almost 250,000 people by the time it was done. And over 29 different rail lines were all part of this. And it's good, except as riots do, as we know, things started getting a little more violent. In fact, um, uh, thousands of people were injured, dozens were killed, and as this riot continues, the federal government was called in. They called in troops. The president did, Grover Cleveland, and he said this is an antitrust thing. You've got to stop this, and um, it just kept getting worse and worse, and it was bad. Um, they ended up arresting them. Interestingly enough, Debs really worked hard. He sent off hundreds of telegrams a day, over 4,000 telegrams over the course of the month and a half or so that it was the protest was on. Hundreds a day of telegrams to people saying, "Hey guys, you got to stay calm. Hey, we can't get violent. Hey, we need to make sure that we're doing what we need to be doing in the right way." And so he was really trying to keep things um, more organized, but also more peaceful. Unfortunately, it fell on deaf ears some, and things got worse whenever when the federal government stepped in, they said you can't actually be communicating with these workers. And so the thing that he's trying to do is save them, and yet he's not able to communicate anymore with them. He'd be put on trial. They kick the court case to the Supreme Court and say, man, we've got to be able to have a jury look at this. We have to have, because there wasn't even a jury that was looking at it, and it was sentencing them to jail. And they're like, this is crazy how far we've gone. And eventually they were all able to sit down and say, okay, listen, we'll hire the people back. You promise not to join a union. We'll keep your same wages. And it was done. In the process of that, all of that mess, Congress passed and President Grover Cleveland signed the very first Labor Day officially for the first Monday in September, and which is what we celebrate now. Now, interestingly enough, also in 1968, they moved more of the federal holidays to Mondays to guarantee that workers had those 3-day weekends instead of a random day in the middle of the week that you get off. And so that's kind of how we have it. But Labor Day was always on a Monday, and still is today. That being said, I really like Eugene Debs and the way that he tried to create peace. He tried to say, I want to stand up for what's going on here. If people need someone as a voice to help them. And Psalms 82:3 comes to mind: defend the weak and the fatherless, uphold the cause of the poor and the oppressed. And I love the way that he tried to do that in a way that was still honoring to God, and it was still honoring to the people. Say, man, we want to sit down and talk about what's going on, and we want to find a peaceful way to end this problem. Definitely things that I wish we could figure out today as well. God still has good plans, and praise God that although situations change, God doesn't, and He still wants what's best for us. And as long as there are people that are being oppressed, people that are being weak, the church and Christians themselves have opportunities to step up and say, hey, how can we walk beside you? How can we show you God's love, and how can we help you continue to do things in a way that's honoring? So that's just my thought, and hope you enjoy some history of Labor Day. Bye.